Hey guys, here's Sufficient with another review. This time I'll be reviewing the Shinkalion Dr. Yellow from Shinkalion Change the World. This is a Dr. Yellow Shinkansen that can transform into a robot, and also has a mode change by combining its three parts together. The set includes several things: the Dr. Yellow in the first car, last car, and middle car, as well as two sets of combination parts, and one set of weapon parts. So, let's get started. First up, we'll take a look at the Dr. Yellow in train mode. We'll start by taking a look at the first car. Now, this one is a bit different from other Shinkalion. Compared to the other Shinkansen we take a look at, where their names is a combination of the model of the train as well as what service they run on, the Dr. Yellow is rather a nickname for a series of different trains throughout the history of Japan Railways. And it's special in that rather than being a passenger train, instead it's a special diagnostics train, and there are two of them. One that runs on JR Central's Tokaido line, and the other that runs on JR West's Sanyo line. And its job is to analyze and take a look at things like the track and the wires up above to make sure that they are running smoothly, and if there are any problems, you can send that data to headquarters so that repairs can be made later on. So this is the current version of the Dr. Yellow, which is a 700 series Shinkansen diagnosed as Class 923. If we take a look at it, obviously you can tell that it's named Dr. Yellow for the bright yellow coloring, and obviously the doctor part comes from the fact that it's a diagnostics train. It has this standout, or this bold blue striping along the sides. Front we've got the cockpit and headlights. It also has this little black piece, which is actually the window for the camera used to monitor the tracks or record the data on tracks. And so this one also has silver wheel wells, similar to what we saw on Hei's Shinkalion. It has the hitch back here. Here we have the last car version, which might look very similar to the front, and it does look pretty similar to the first car, but the difference here is that for the first car, Dr. Yellow does have these raised bumps in front, which are probably meant to signify the pantograph. Another interesting bit of trivia for the Dr. Yellow is that because it is a train that is normally not something that one can ride on, it's not a passenger train, there's basically this culture around it where it's said that if you see the Dr. Yellow, you will be blessed with good luck or happiness. And then here we have the middle car, the first middle car we've seen for the Change the World line. It's got the silver bit here in front, we've got some stickers back here. We've got this detailing up here with some gray painted parts. It still has that striping along it. You can see it also has two of the hook types for the hitches. Now these also have a couple of sets of combination parts. So we got the blue one for the first car, and then this black one for the last car, and you can tell which one is which also by taking a look at the back and see which color plastic it is. Then you have these weapon parts, which consists of a sword, as well as this piece, which we'll get into later. And so this can be stored. If you come around to the back here and take one of these pegs at the bottom and just plug it in like that. But we can also do something that we haven't been able to do thus far in the line, is that because we have both a first, middle, and last car, we can hitch the cars end to end. And so we got the full-length Dr. Yellow. Now, obviously, for a real Dr. Yellow, it would have more cars than this, but these three do serve the purpose of transformation and mode change. Of course, they can be rolled and turned, since, as I've said with the other ones, they are compatible with plow rail tracks. After that, we'll get to the transformation, and like always, I pre-prepped the arms and legs, so we can just focus on the torso. So to transform the torso, first we're going to open up the hatch here. Lift up this panel here. Lower down the legs to raise up the head. And to the side, clean it in place. Fold in this panel. And fold in the front panel. Rotate the head. The horn. And split open hips a little bit. We'll plug on the legs and the arms. And here we have Shinkalion Dr. Yellow in the first car and last car versions. We'll start by taking a look at the first car version. So this is the main one. You can see what is transformed. Now adds all this nice blue to it that really pops and does match up with the blue and yellow motif of the train mode. Take a look at the head here. Got a lot of nice yellow and blue. You'll see it has some silver added to it, as well as some green for the eyes. Of course, the front of the train does compress nicely into the chest piece. We've got the shoulder pieces here. Got stickers on the arms, torso, and legs. But of course, the design is pretty much the same structurally as with the other Shinkalions. What's also interesting is the last car version. We can see it swaps out the blue for black, but there's also another bit of key detail in that there's less paint on this one. So taking a look, you can see for the head, it does have some paint in blue eyes. Then the only other paint we get there is the silver. Coming down to the waist piece, you can see that the front bit, which has the connectors, is not painted. And also the toes and feet are also not painted. And I think the reason for that is most likely because this is essentially a toy exclusive Shinkalion, in that while there is a front, middle, and back car in the show, the only one that actually transforms into Shinkalion is the front car, and so this is basically like a toy-only version, and obviously has a transformation because it uses the same structure as all the others. But just judging by the appearance, I think it's likely that if this were to transform in the show, rather than being piloted by a Shinkalion driver, it would probably just be a drone unit that operated on its own. Additionally, you can bring in the weapon, which is called the KENSOKU blade. Got the handle down here. You can have one of them, mainly the first car version, wield it in hand. So even without using an air vehicle, it does have a weapon to battle with. Now, while Dr. Yellow does not include any air vehicles of its own, they are both compatible with all the previously released air vehicles. So as a couple of examples, here we have Shinkalion Dr. Yellow trailer form and Shinkalion Dr. Yellow drone form. As you can see, this adds in more color, adds in more armor, and it is pretty cool that with these you can make use of two at once, since there are technically two Shinkalion within this set. Now, while Dr. Yellow can combine with other Shinkalion to form Shinkalion SRG, instead of that, I'm going to show you guys a couple of special combinations you can make using Dr. Yellow, the first one being its mode change. And the reason I refer to it as a mode change is because that's what it's called in the series, and I think the reason before that is because even though it is done in similar formation to Shinkalion SRG, all of the components are still technically just Dr. Yellow. So with this, I've shown You can see what I've done in pre-preparation, where the first car version of Dr. Yellow becomes the right arm and leg, and the last car version becomes the left arm and leg. So, then we can transform the middle car. We'll take off the wheel well. Then we'll come down here and flip open the sides on this panel and then remove it. We're going to take these two pieces, separate them like that, and then plug them together like this. We'll come down to the hips, spread them open in one click, and then take the thighs and rotate them around 180 degrees. We're going to come up to here. Use your finger to pull back on this lever, then pull up the head, and then pull this piece all the way back, and then pull up the horn. We'll attach the legs, coming out here. Attach the arms. Then for its weaponry, we're just going to take the KENSOKU blade and take the actual blade itself, pull it out to extend it, which will create the Great KENSOKU blade. We'll put that in the right hand. We'll take this panel and flip it around, and it comes the Great Hosen shield. I'm going to take this peg, plug it into the arm, and here we have Great Dr. Yellow. So let's take a closer look. Now, while the arms and legs work the same as a Shinkalion SRG, the torso is completely original. So starting off, we have the head, which is mainly yellow, but it has this nice golden crest on it, with silver fins on the side. You can see it has a covered up visor, so no eyes visible, and then a bit of a mouth guard. And this face here, or this kind of face-looking symbols on the forehead, which does somewhat tie into the story behind it, so I'm not going to go into that because it's going to be spoilers. You can see the horn back there, and it is nice that this piece, folds back quite cleanly. Then we have the torso. You can see a couple of stickers there and there. It is much more slim and slender. It doesn't jut out as much as a normal Shinkalion would. We've got the waist. Add some more gold and silver to it. Coming around to the back, you can see that was the front of the middle car. Now becomes some nice boosters on the back. Of course, we do have the weapons. We've got the sword here. It is pretty appropriate that it would extend out to fit the bigger size. And then the shield, which has some nice stickers on the inside. There's a lot of nice panel detailing. And this has all the same articulation that you would get out of a Shinkalion SRG. Finally, there's also a special combination between Shinkalion E5 Hayabusa and Great Dr. Yellow. And this works most the same as Shinkalion SRG, but with a few tweaks and extra steps. So for starters, we have the arms and legs, as well as the basic SRG body for E5 Hayabusa, so we'll plug on the legs, and come up here for the arms. And then we're going to come around back here, over to the back. First of all, we're going to take the leg pieces, and like with an SRG combination, I'll plug them onto the arms and secure them into place. Same on the other side. I'll do something a little bit different for the arms. So instead of where we would normally take them, sandwich together, and plug them onto the back, instead, what you want to do is take out one of the arms, fold in the joint like this, in sort of a triangular formation, and then fit it on, and then kind of rest it against the back like that, rather. We'll take this side panel, plug it on there, and plug it into the hole on the back, and have it at an angle. Same thing for the other one. Like that. Plug that in. So then we are going to come around to the torso piece, or what was the body for Great Dr. Yellow. Going to fold in the horn, fold up this panel, and one cool trick we can do is that if you have it like this and then you just pull out the tab, the head just drops back into place. Twist around these parts, close them back up, take these parts and put them back like this. I'm going to take this piece from the bottom and then plug it in up top. I'm going to separate them again. This time we'll take this piece, plug it into the back. I'm going to take this piece off of the Great KENSOKU blade, and using this peg, going to plug into this hole and then go over the head of E5 Hayabusa. We'll take this piece again and plug it back in. And for the weapons, once again equip it with the Great KENSOKU blade. And for the Great Hosen shield, we're going to take this piece here, flip it around, and plug it into this peg back here. And here we have Unite Shinkalion. So let's take a closer look. So with this, it is mostly like an SRG combination, but a couple of main differences you can see are: one, you got this helmet piece on the head of E5 Hayabusa. Just have this nice visor covering up the eyes. Then we have this helmet piece on top, which has some nice yellow paint, as well as these clear blue pieces, and seems to be designed after a conductor or station master's hat. We also have this giant cannon on the back, the Ballast Kido Ho. You can see it does attach quite nicely. And you can try to position it in such a way where it's, a little bit more leaning forward to fire the cannon. On top of that, these pieces back here kind of seem like boosters now. And it still has the same weapons as Great Dr. Yellow. So in a sense, it feels like a sort of super combination, equal in power to something like Chaos Shinkalion, and also similar to Chaos Shinkalion, whereas most of the instructions are included in the instruction manuals to get the steps and instructions to create Unite Shinkalion. There is a QR code on the back of the Dr. Yellow box that you have to scan and go to the webpage for. So just something to keep in mind if you buy this set. But definitely quite a cool combination, and even though the canonical way to do it is using E5 Hayabusa as the center, you can technically use any of the other normal Shinkalion as the center as you please. And there we go. So overall, Shinkalion Dr. Yellow is definitely the other big ticket item for Shinkalion Change the World, and it makes a lot of sense. From what I've looked up on the previous 2 seasons of Shinkalion, they always kind of did this for the Dr. Yellow of the series, where it would be this more special set that both had its own individual robot mode, as well as a sort of super mode, and it's also traditional for it to have some kind of combination with the E5 Hayabusa of that series. And in the case of this one, it definitely does feel very complete. Not only do you get 3 train cars, so you can link them all up and have that kind of train action that you don't really get with a lot of other things in this line. Then you get 2 normal-sized Shinkalion, plus the Great Dr. Yellow mode change, which absolutely looks fantastic. Even if it's not completely symmetrical, it still is a lot more coherent and cohesive in terms of the way it looks compared to the Shinkalion SRG combinations. Not to mention, it has the combination with, it has that Unite Shinkalion combination like I mentioned earlier, and of course it is compatible with not only your other Shinkalion, but all of the AED vehicles. So if you're looking for a big ticket item to get, if you're really getting into this and want to get a special set to add to your collection, I can definitely recommend picking this up. Though I will just say before I end that if there is another season of Shinkalion, this may end up being the last Dr. Yellow we see, as unfortunately the Dr. Yellow trains are being retired. The JR Central one is being retired this month, January 2025, and the JR West one will be retired by 2027. So depending on how long it takes to make the next season, if we get a next season, we may not see Dr. Yellow again. But at the very least for this one, it is definitely a fantastic set. Next time I'll be doing a part 2 of my review of the Gab phone, where I'll be showing off the sounds for the different Gochizo that we've looked at up to this point. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and if you're new and would like to see more, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. And for now, this is KRX50, riding off.